No official poster, no press release, no confirmation. And yet, one line, one moment, one carefully placed hint has sent the entire fandom into overdrive. Fans aren't guessing, they're connecting dots that don't usually line up by accident. April 2026 keeps resurfacing. Familiar venues, strategic silence, and timing that feels a little too deliberate to ignore. This isn't wishful thinking, this is pattern recognition. Because when SB19 plans something big, they don't announce it first, they signal it. Tonight, we're breaking down the exact hint everyone caught, why it matters, and why this could become the most important homecoming concert of their career. And we're tracking this story step by step, so if you want to be here before confirmation drops, make sure you're subscribed. It didn't arrive with fireworks or headlines. It arrived quietly, almost casually. And that's exactly why fans froze. One reference, one timing detail, one subtle alignment that felt too precise to be accidental. For longtime SB19 followers, alarms went off immediately. This wasn't another what-if theory or overexcited speculation. This felt different. This felt intentional. The moment fans started cross-checking dates, past statements, and recurring phrases, the conversation shifted. Screenshots spread fast, threads multiplied, group chats filled with the same question. Why does this line up so cleanly? Because random hints don't echo across platforms like this. Random moments don't keep circling back to April 2026 without reason. But what made it even louder was what didn't happen. No correction, no denial, no playful shutdown, just silence. And in the SB19 universe, silence speaks volumes. When rumors are wrong, they close the door fast. When they're right, or dangerously close, they let them breathe. Within hours, timelines turned into timelines. Fan spaces became investigation rooms. This wasn't hype chasing anymore. It was collective analysis, the kind that only happens when something feels real. And that's when the thought hit. Wait, this actually makes sense. If this were any other group, the theory might collapse under skepticism, but SB19 doesn't move like everyone else, and they never have. Their biggest moments were rarely announced up front. They were layered, seeded, discovered. A lyric here, a timing coincidence there, a phrase repeated just enough to feel deliberate. Every time, people doubted until they didn't. SB19 understands something most artists underestimate. Their fandom isn't passive, it's analytical, observant, deeply invested. Instead of spoon-feeding announcements, they let fans participate in the reveal. That participation creates emotional ownership, and when the official confirmation finally lands, it hits harder.
There are documented moments where fans predicted timelines within weeks of accuracy. Not because of luck, but because SB19's signals follow logic. They don't tease chaos, they tease structure. That's why this hint feels heavier. It fits their history, it follows their rhythm. Quiet first, observation second, confirmation last. SB19 doesn't shout their plans into the void. They whisper to the people who know how to listen. And history tells us this much. When patterns repeat, they stop being coincidences. A homecoming isn't about going back, it's about returning changed. For SB19, that distinction matters. This is not a group that appeared overnight. They climbed from uncertain local stages to global platforms where their name now carries weight. Every step of their journey was earned, not gifted. A true homecoming doesn't happen just because fans ask for it. It happens when an artist has something to bring back. SB19 now does. International tours, global listeners, industry respect. Coming home at this stage isn't nostalgia, it's acknowledgement. It's saying, this is where it started, and this is what it became. That's why the timing feels emotionally charged. Earlier in their career, a homecoming would have felt premature. Now, it feels inevitable. Fans who stood by them before the headlines get to witness the full arc, live, in one space. Newer fans don't just hear the music, they inherit the history behind it. And this is how legacy is built. Popularity fades, trends move on, but homecomings crystallize identity. They turn success into story. They transform performances into milestones. For SB19, this wouldn't just be another concert. It would be a mirror held up to their entire journey. That's why it matters. At first glance, waiting until April 2026 might look like restraint. In reality, it's precision. Major tours aren't fueled by energy alone. They're built on timing, recovery, and global coordination. SB19 has spent years moving across continents, adapting to different markets, time zones, and expectations. A homecoming of this scale requires more than excitement. It requires readiness. April sits in a strategic sweet spot. It avoids the end-of-year concert crush, sidesteps festival saturation, allows breathing room after intense touring cycles. More importantly, it offers control. Control over narrative, over build-up, over impact. When the goal isn't just attendance, but significance, timing becomes everything.
There's also alignment, album cycles, anniversaries, internal milestones fans may not fully see yet. Big moments rarely exist in isolation. They connect. April allows space for those connections to land without noise or rush. Rushing a homecoming weakens it. Doing it too soon makes it reactive. Doing it right makes it feel inevitable. Waiting doesn't signal hesitation, it signals confidence. It says SB19 isn't chasing moments, they're engineering them. When the spotlight finally turns home, they want it focused, intentional, and impossible to ignore. That's not delay, that's mastery. And if this truly is a homecoming, then the venue won't be a detail. It will be the message. This isn't the kind of moment that fits inside a standard arena anymore. SB19 has outgrown rooms designed for convenience. What they need now is a space that reflects the scale of their journey. Venue size is a statement. Choosing scale isn't about ego, it's about belief. Belief that fans will show up. Belief that the moment deserves to be seen not just from the front row, but from miles away. A homecoming like this isn't meant to feel exclusive, it's meant to feel collective. That's why capacity matters. A massive venue signals ambition, but more than that, it signals intention. Not just to sell tickets, but to set benchmarks, to create numbers that shift industry expectations. Proof that local acts can command monumental crowds without dilution or compromise. And there's a difference that matters here. Selling out is impressive. Making history is transformative. Sellouts come and go. Records rewrite narratives. If SB19 chooses scale, they're not just hosting a concert, they're staking a claim. They're placing this moment among national events, not just fan gatherings. And that's when the realization hits. They're not thinking bigger for attention. They're thinking bigger because the moment demands it. For fans, a homecoming is celebration. For SB19, it's confrontation.
Silence, when used correctly, becomes power. It slows the cycle, forces focus, and shifts attention from the announcement to the anticipation. Confirming too early would flatten the moment. Hype has a shelf life, and premature confirmation burns it fast. By staying quiet, SB19 allows speculation to mature instead of spike. Fans aren't just reacting, they're investing. Time, analysis, emotion. That creates momentum money can't manufacture. Silence also prevents fatigue. Overexposure dulls excitement. Absence sharpens it. Each week without confirmation raises the stakes, not frustration, because the clues feel deliberate, not abandoned. There's psychology here. Anticipation forms deeper emotional bonds than instant gratification. When fans feel they've earned the reveal through observation, the payoff becomes personal. SB19 understands this. They don't rush moments, they cultivate them.
When confirmation finally comes, it won't feel like news, it will feel like validation. The quiet isn't absence, it's control. And if this hint is real, and history suggests it might be, the next phase won't arrive loudly, it will arrive in patterns. SB19 rarely jumps from silence to announcement overnight. There's always a middle layer. First, timing shifts, schedule gaps that suddenly make sense, long-term commitments quietly ending. These are structural signals, not surface noise. Second, language changes. Phrases become forward-looking but non-specific. Ambiguity becomes deliberate, not careless. Third, collaboration movement. Partners, teams, and venues begin aligning quietly. Echoes appear, just enough to notice, never enough to confirm. Real signals are patient. False alarms are loud, emotional, and rushed. They spike fast and disappear just as quickly. That's why patience matters. SB19 reveals are built like stories, not alerts. Each step prepares the next. Fans who stay observant don't just receive the announcement, they recognize it when it becomes inevitable. That's the experience SB19 creates. Not waiting in frustration, but watching a narrative assemble itself. And when confirmation finally lands, it won't feel sudden, it will feel right. If this homecoming becomes real, it won't be measured by ticket sales alone. It will be measured by meaning. A moment where the journey isn't described, it's witnessed. SB19 began as underdogs in a space with few guarantees. Every milestone was earned, never handed over. A homecoming at this scale would mark the shift from survival to authorship, not just participating in the industry, but shaping it. On that stage, past and present would stand together, early struggle and global success sharing the same ground. New fans beside those who believed before belief was popular. One space holding every version of the journey at once. That's why moments like this endure, not because of spectacle, but because of truth. Some concerts entertain, others become reference points, before and after moments. If this happens, it won't close a chapter, it will open a new era, defined not by ambition, but by legacy. Because some concerts make noise, others make history. And when SB19 finally speaks, this story changes overnight. If you don't want to miss that moment, make sure you're subscribed.